Hi everyone. I realized I was watching back on stuff. I'm putting jewelry on right now. Today's a morning that's just kind of crazy. I was watching back on some of the last couple things I've done, and I start everything with "Hi everyone," with the same cadence and everything. So I was like, really, but I hope you guys like that. I guess that's my thing. Hi everyone. It's been a crazy morning. I've been trying to like cram in everything. I got a workout in. It meant I had to get up at 4:45, but I was able to get a 30-minute workout in, which basically consisted of only a 15-minute run. So I would have preferred more, but trying to figure out which rings to put on. And so yeah, so I did a 15-minute run and then 15 minutes of like abs and core and a little bit of that kind of stuff. But I did it. I got my heart rate up and I did it. I wish I'd been able to do more, but I'm happy that I did it. What else this morning? Oh my God. Also, because I was rushing from the workout, from working out to shower, to hop onto this, and then I have to rush right after too. And does anyone have this problem? Like, I'm someone who's every time I shower, I have to put lotion, and I have like really thick lotion all over my body, right? And then when you're rushing and you're trying to put clothes on after you just put lotion on, it's like a full-on comedy show. It was hilarious about 5 minutes ago. So it's a good morning. Good morning, everyone, if it's good morning for you, or good afternoon wherever you are in the world. Thank you guys for submitting questions on TikTok, by the way. I have seen them. It's just finding the time to record the answers. I feel maybe a little inappropriate to be in my room when I should be like at the production office filming TikTok videos. So when I'm at the stages, I'm definitely working, and then I try to find time when I get back. So haven't been able to find the time to record those answers, but I will. And thank you for submitting them. I am going to jump right into it. Everybody has been asking how shadowing's going. It's been going wonderful. We're about to start. Drink your coffee, Danielle. It's going wonderful. It hasn't been as cold up here look at short sleeves, you can tell, as cold up here in Vancouver, which has been nice, because the last time I was up here shadowing, it was very cold and very wet. And so it's nice to not be as cold and rainy this time. So it's been, from that perspective, it's been great. Getting to shadow Nicole Rubio has been amazing. Lots of conversations, lots of learning. Again, it's just, it's very interesting what you learn from director to director. And I'll say so far, Nicole is so like, there's a peace and ease about her style that is something that I am very much like, oh my gosh, that's nice. I need to learn that too, because it can be so stressful coming up with all these things and answering answering every question and leading and problem solving. And so she does such an amazing job of staying very calm throughout it all and able to be very centered, and it's impressive to watch. So we're still in prep, which means we're still doing, logistics and talking over the incident and makeup and hair and tone and what else do we have left? Some other little things, but it's been great. It's been a lot of navigating, trying to figure out I would say this is a common occurrence on action type shows, firefighter shows, or what other actions are there? Anything that has like an incident that kind of takes construction, has to build it, and special effects has to usually rig something to do something. It takes a lot of just trying to figure out the best way to do it, to make it work on camera, to make it safe for everybody, and to really, in shows, make the stakes high, because sometimes the stakes, you're kind of like, how do we make this like progress? You're telling a story, narrative story. So it's been interesting and fun, and this crew up here is amazing, and cast. I just haven't been seeing the cast yet. I won't see them until 2 more days. But they're just amazing up here. So it's great to be back and to be taking it all in and to learning it all. So thank you for asking how it's going. I'll try to remember to take some photos this time of me shadowing, because last year when I shadowed, I was so new and nervous that I didn't even, I don't think, take out my camera. So I'll try to document some stuff too. Okay, I'm gonna get to some questions. So what does a director expect? This I thought was a great question. What does a director expect of someone shadowing? It really does vary. I have shadowed certain directors that expect you to have every scene shot listed and ready and show your shot list every morning when we're on set. Or some have even had me chime in on like a meeting, like, is that correct? Or what do you think? Or put you on the spot and things like that, which is very valuable to learn. It's scary when it happens, but it's valuable to kind of learn because that's how it is. Things happen on the spot and fast. And then some haven't expected anything. I've literally been like, well, what do you, and they're like, no, you're good. You don't need to turn in anything. You don't need to show me anything. Just watch me. Just follow me around. I'm here if you have any questions. And so it really does vary by director. Sometimes if you're part of, I believe, directing programs where it's part of the program, they might require you to submit something at the end of the shadow. But the truth is for my experience, it's really been case by case, and usually they don't ask for much. They really just want, it's by seeing how you work. It's by seeing how the questions you ask, and you have tons of conversations on set with the director. It's called walking the stages too. That's something that you do when you're trying to walk the stages to figure out shots and stuff, and where the camera should be, and what you believe the actors will be doing. Sometimes the actors come to set and want to do different things, but so walking the stages, what was I talking about with that? Oh, you get to really talk through, like, obviously in that situation, you're able to pitch what you were thinking for the scene and how maybe that works or doesn't work, or pitch ideas for the way that the directors wanted to shoot it, or, just be that person that can bounce ideas off of. So I think a lot of directors also can tell when you're going through that process that, like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. This person has read the script and is prepared, and at least I think, I don't know what's going through their brain, but that's at least my interpretation. How did you know you were ready to direct? I think I knew I was ready to direct on station because it was just such a long process. It's interesting. I don't know if you ever know if you're ready in regards to, like, I think it's just the next phase. Like, I know that I'm ready to direct and learn what I need to learn by doing. It's like when people go to school, whether it's, I'm not gonna say being a doctor, whether it's, I'll say it, being a doctor or going to acting school to be an actor, like, school and learning from that point can only take you so far, and then you just have to start doing. And I know I'm gonna learn so much more every time I direct an episode, but I do think that I've reached a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And I was ready when I did the episode of Station 19 to go, okay, it's time. Like, I know I have all the tools in my tool belt, and I'm ready to use them and see what works and doesn't work. And I look back and watch Station 19, and I know the things I would have done differently, and I think that's true for anybody. You can kind of go through and go like, oh, I would have done this differently if I'd done it again, or I wish that obstacle we didn't have that day, or whatnot. So that, I think, yeah. And I think also too, after I directed my short film, that was my first moment to be like, can I do this? You're in the seat, the director's seat, and you have to be like, okay, can you actually command and lead a crew and a cast and get those performances? And even though I'm an actor, I'm like, can I give notes? Like, so it was very validating to be able to do that and go, okay, I can do this. So yeah, that's when you know you're ready. But it's kind of one of those things that, like, even if you feel like you might not be ready, still go for it. Because I think if you go, I won't know until I'm ready, or I can't do it until I'm ready, you might wait too long. I think it's important to just, even if you're like, I'm not sure, just try it. And I'm talking like, try it, like short films, like go shoot a short film, shoot something, see how it works, and go from there. But yeah, I guess that's an answer to how did I know when I was ready. What skills are you most focused on developing right now as a director? What skills? I mean, there's so many skills. What skills? I mean, I've tiptoed now into kind of like, I get, the verbiage of, you want to be able to talk to your crew specifically. I like to be able to talk to you have to. The DP in your first AD or your That's like the golden right there, is you need that to work. But and I wish I knew more about camera, and so I could really talk lenses, cameras, things like that. I've had directors who are like, you don't need to know that stuff, and I want to know that stuff because I just feel like there's sometimes a language barrier, I guess you could say. I mean, not really, because they know, DPs are so smart and they know exactly how to achieve what you're asking as a director. Oh my God, I realized my phone isn't charged. I should probably get a charger. Charge it. Yeah, DPs are phenomenal at being able to interpret what it is you're asking for, but it's really, I think, important to know, like, what are you talking about here? Where do you want the camera? How do you want the camera to move? What are you trying to achieve? Like, what is it that you actually want? And I can verbalize that, but the actual verbiage that DPs use is just so important. I think it's really important to be able to get that language down so that you can communicate efficiently with your DP. And that stuff I think I still want to learn, but I think that's also by practice. You know, it took me a long time to even learn things like, not a long time, but you know, you learn tilting, you learn panning, you learn like dulling and booming and all those kind of words, so that you're not just saying, I want the camera to do this. I want the camera to do this. Like, you gotta be able to have the verbiage. So that took me a little while to be like, what am I trying to say, and get confident behind saying it. But that stuff I'd still like to learn more of. But I have so much more to learn, is the honest answer, but I'm gonna learn it by doing. What is something that you've learned from directing that you take with you in daily life? Wow, that's a great question. From directing I take with me in daily life. Wow, I feel like there's a lot of things, like, but maybe trusting your instincts a little bit more, because as a director you're kind of forced to. Learning how to lead more effectively, or learning how to lead in the best way possible. You know, because leading isn't just telling people what to do. Leading is listening to people, collaborating with people, hearing people, and being able to be the person that, you know, can point everyone in the right direction if that's needed, or make the hard decisions when it's time. So yeah, I guess I've learned that in my daily life. That's a really interesting question that has my brain thinking. What do you think separates a good director from a great one? Ooh. You guys, these are fantastic questions. A good director from a great one. It's hard. It's hard too in television and film. I went silent for a second because I was thinking so much. Like, I was thinking of the great directors that are in film, and it's really having a vision, right? It's being able to clearly, you know, I'm cold, guys. It's clearly having that vision and a style of storytelling that really stands out. I think because my hair's wet. It's like I'm cold. After I talked about how it's not cold in Vancouver. But in television, it's interesting. It's probably case by case with show too. It's really how, in television, it's how can you really achieve efficiently, effectively, and keeping everyone in mind. Like, television is a fast moving ship. There's no stopping. And I think some of the best directors are the ones that can kind of navigate and handle all that while still taking everyone into consideration, while still creating, you know, delivering a great episode of television, but also still somehow maintaining some sort of style of shooting. Yeah, it's really interesting. These are great questions, by the way. I gotta stop saying I watch back some of these and I'm like, why do I say so much? Any advice for someone who wants to direct but feels nervous about nervous about starting? Just do it. Do it. The advice is do it. Take your iPhone, get out there, start doing it. Read Shot Designer. shot designer's not the name of it. It's gonna drive me crazy. I think I did this to you guys last time, and I said I would post the name of the books, and I forgot the name of the book, so we're gonna do it in real time. Shot by Shot is the book, I believe. Shot by Shot. Yeah, there's a book called Shot by Shot. That is definitely like, read it. It says Shot by Shot, film directing shot by shot, visualizing from concept to screen. It's just tried and true, the book that just read it. You might, if you're someone who's been on set or whatever, might know a lot of the stuff that already is talked about in it, but it's valuable. Start with that. Just read it. But just start directing, start filming stuff. And then when you film stuff, you'll start kind of exploring different things. You know, do you want to try a different camera? Do you want to try, instead of your iPhone, do you want to meet up with people? Are you going to some sort of directing school or directing program? Like, just start doing, you know. Go on YouTube and watch tutorials about stuff, or watch, you know, some short films. Go to a short film festival or film festival that's close in your area. Meet with people, talk with people. I know it's putting yourself out there, which is scary at times, but that would be my recommendation, is just start doing it. If you want to direct, if you have the desire to direct, just start any way you can, that you have at your fingertips, that's accessible to you. Just do it. Because the truth is you learn as you go along, and, you know, the more you can learn, the sooner you can learn it, the more tools you have in your tool belt. If you could shadow any director in the world, who would it be? Oh, there's so many. I just started listing them all out. Like Catherine Bigelow, Christopher Nolan, David Fincher, Ridley Scott. I've been so grateful to shadow so many TV directors. It's hard when you go to the TV directors because you're like, who am I forgetting? Yeah, those are the ones I can think of from the film world. TV, there's so many, and it varies from show to show. And I've been so lucky to shadow so many amazing TV directors, like so lucky. So I'm grateful to have shadowed all the directors I have shadowed in television, but I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of right now that I should know. So yeah, those are the ones that came to my mind right off the bat. What do you think is the best way to learn? Observing professionals, doing your own projects, or research? All of it. All of it. Read books. Like I said, it's the one I just recommended. Observe people. I mean, I've been observing people a lot, because you learn a lot by watching. A lot. You learn a lot too, what to do, what not to do. You learn all that. Because when you're observing, you're not just seeing people be perfect. You're seeing people be people, which is at times things don't go as planned. At times things are messy. At times people are having a bad day. So observing is phenomenal, but I do think you have to just start doing. And we have the capabilities now with iPhones in our hands to just start filming stuff and figure out how to tell narrative storytelling. I think that's the most important. Unless that's not something you want to do, but like there's visual storytelling, which is amazing, but you really have to also tell a narrative story. And I think that that's something people sometimes struggle with is, yeah, you can make it look pretty and cool, but can you tell the story that's actually going to resonate with people? What is the story you're telling? I think that's really important. So just start doing. So I would say it's a mix of all three. And whatever is the first one you do, if you're nervous and don't want to get out there and start doing stuff, start reading first and researching and watching books and reading books and watching YouTube, and go from there. Are there specific questions you ask each director about shots they choose, or do the questions you have come up organically as you shadow based on the scenes? It's pretty organic at this point. I would say I'm trying to go back to the first time I shadowed. And the first time I shadowed, absolutely, or the first couple times I shadowed, I was asking all the time why they chose that shot. Because sometimes I just didn't understand it because I saw it completely different. And they're like, well, you can't shoot that way because of a lighting situation, or this is going to have so much, like, they'll be like, this angle is going to have so much more depth than that angle. Like, you don't want to shoot up against a wall. Like, there was a lot of, like, really early things that I just didn't know. And I was like, oh, yeah. And you start having an eye for things. So now it's more kind of like, I can ask why, but usually I already know why. I'm like, okay, Yeah, no, I see why you're shooting it that way. That makes complete sense. Or yeah, we were gonna usually at this point when I shadow, that my idea of the master and the director I'm shadowing's idea of the master are the same, because you only have so many kind of versions to some point where you can actually master a shot because of requirement, what just looks the best. Like usually on a stage specifically, you're kind of like, okay, this makes the most sense to everybody involved. But then how you shoot the scene within that can vary. And I've always been really inspired because I've been fascinated at what some directors come up with. I'm like, wow, I never thought of that idea. That's a great idea. But it's also really interesting now to be to a point where I'm like, oh, this is how I would have shot it. Cool. And that's how you would have shot it. Okay, both work. And that's kind of a cool thing too, that kind of puts your mind at ease of like, oh wow, that's really, really cool that like the scene could be shot multiple different ways to tell the story. And it does tell the same story, it's slightly different. But yeah, it's very interesting to see that as well. So yeah, I think early on, questions are amazing. And I still ask questions now, but the questions are less about the logistics of things and more kind of about what that director does specifically, or how that director goes about things, just so I can see their take on stuff. So that changes the more you do it. But I would say they come up pretty organically. Sometimes directors will come to me like, do you have any questions? I'm like, I'm trying to think. I'm like, do I? I don't think so. Because what the truth is if you shadow really well, if you get the opportunity to shadow, what I will say for anyone that's shadowing out there is just watch. I've heard about shadows that kind of just sit and don't do anything, or kind of sit in the village or sit in the production offices and don't really, I am like, I mean, it's kind of, I think, a little bit of a running joke, but I'm like on the heels of the director at all times, to the point where like, if you're a fast moving director, like some directors I've shadowed, I'm literally, I think they've almost tripped over me because I'm so close all the time. But just observing, there is so much you learn by being the best version of a fly on the wall that you can be, without obviously overstepping. But you kind of just have to ask, like, it's okay if I'm on this, it's okay if I'm on this. But standing there and just being a fly on the wall is you learn so much by observing. And there's no pressure in observing. That's the great part, is I'm allowed to sit there and watch and learn and formulate my own ideas, my own thoughts, my own opinions while people are having all these conversations, and then hear how it plays out and see how people handle things. And observing is I love it. I love being able to just watch. And so sometimes when they say, do you have questions? I'm like, I really don't, because I have questions in my head and they kind of get answered just by watching and observing. So yeah, I would say that's a progression. You'll start with lots of questions at the beginning. What is the biggest challenge for a director post-production? The biggest challenge? Get the next job? No. It depends, what you're doing. Post-production, I think you're talking about when you get into editing and stuff. Depends on what the episode comes in at. So the editor edits it first and delivers the editor's cut, and the editor puts together, to the best of their ability, and whatever notes you give them or whatever conversations you've had with them, their edit. Sometimes people get an editor that maybe didn't see their vision as well, so there's a lot to edit in the 4 days you have, because that could be a bump. But in my experience, most of the time, the editors deliver a really good cut, or at least really close to what the director wanted. So very rarely is it kind of like this huge hurdle to get past there. But the episodes do have to be close to time. So episodes are about, so I was reading something, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. What was I saying? So yes, episode has to be 42 minutes and something, or whatever. It's something like that. And you try, it's interesting, directors have different things. Your episode's always over, which you want it to be over, not under, because God forbid it's under and they have to cut anything, they have nothing to cut. You don't want it under. You don't want an episode under. But then you don't want it too over. But also too, I know some people that just deliver it as is and they don't care about that at all. It's 8 minutes over, like, go for it. The sweet spot for most people that I've talked to seems to be like 3 or 4 minutes over. When I directed my episode, and Peter Page was like, you don't need to do that, Danielle. I got it as close to time as possible. Which he was like, you don't need to do that. You can leave it over. And I tried so hard, and I think I delivered only 30 seconds over because I was like, I just wanted to be as close to time as possible. And he's like, just don't do that. So I think in hindsight, people are like, let there be extra time so people have stuff to work with, because then it gets handed on. That's the thing that's the hardest with directors that I see, is then it gets handed off to the producers and stuff, and things change, and stuff gets moved around. And theirs is more from a story standpoint as the arc of a whole season. So sometimes they're coming and going, we need to change this scene because now we know what's going to happen next episode, and this didn't play out the way we wanted to, and it doesn't really work for what's coming. And guest directors on television, don't know what's coming. So stuff can change a lot with the producers, or maybe they have a very different vision, who knows. So, but I would say the biggest obstacle is once you get that editor's cut, where do you go from there? And then, is it over? Is it under? Is the cut just not what you saw? So that's probably the biggest obstacle that you have, or the biggest challenge, I guess, that I should say, after you're done with filming. Favorite thing about directing and favorite thing about shadowing. I love that there can be a favorite thing about shadowing. Favorite thing about shadowing is, like I said earlier, is observing. I love it. I love being able to sit back and observe how people work when you're not invested in the regards of like you have any skin in the game. Like, I am not part of this show or this production, so I can sit back and the pressure is not on me. When you're in it, there's pressure, and so observing really allows you to sit back, watch, and go, okay, I don't have the stress and the pressure that everyone else has, and I can really sit back and just observe. And there's just, I love that. My favorite thing about directing, everything. It's just so exciting. It's so exciting to be able to bring something to life off the page, and to work as a team to do that, and to just, all these people come together to create an hour of television. And I just find it very fulfilling. I love it. I love storytelling, and I love when you can get all these departments together and you collaborate and you chat and you talk and you figure out how to solve a problem or make something work, and then you get to set and you do it. And it's the act of directing. But I guess that's the element I love. And then it's not even about necessarily seeing the final product. It's really the act of working together as a team to bring something to fruition. It's just, in the art of storytelling, I just love it. I love it. And do you think my acting experience helps directing? And do you prefer to direct something you haven't acted in? I do prefer to direct something I'm not acting in. Using both sides of your brain, acting and directing, they're just completely different. They're completely different. Acting is somewhat singular in a sense. It's collaborative with the actors you're with and the story you're trying to tell, but it's very much one character story and how you portray that and how you bring that to life. And that's very different than directing. Even though you work as a team with your fellow castmates and things like that, and you want to work with a team as production, you kind of come in and you're there to do one singular job. And that is very different than directing in that regard. So I don't have a preference. That wasn't the question, between acting and directing. I mean, I love acting. But I would say, I do not prefer to act in something I'm directing. On Station 19, that was very, very, not difficult because I was able to handle it. It was just, I'm directing. And then I had to like step away from directing to go act in a scene. And I didn't just have like a little thing. I had like a whole monologue that I had to like, okay, let me switch gears, turn this side off and go, okay, I memorized this. I have to give emotion. What is my character's, motivation here? What's the intention? What am I trying to say? What am I trying to do? What would my character be doing? Am I standing like this? Am I standing like that? It was very different because directing, I was thinking about the story as a whole. And to then turn it on as an actor and then have to step away and have other people watch the performance. And then which I loved relying on them because I trusted the team, our team, the team. And so when I was able to get back after doing the scene and go, how'd it go? They're like, good, I could go, okay, great, let's move on. So there was the trust there, but yeah, it's not fun because you basically can't direct yourself. So you basically have to step away from directing for a scene. The little ones that I was in where it was just me walking into a scene or whatever, I was usually on the monitors calling action and then walked into the scene and then I was able to walk out, call cut, and do all the things. So little scenes were easy, but it was the big ones that, a lot of dialogue scenes that, my stomach's growling, time to have some breakfast. So yeah, so I don't like to act in something I'm directing, which is great that I got to deal with a short film because that was really, really important. And that was Nancy. Why can't I remember Nancy? Why can't I remember her last name? Schreider. Who's a DP, fantastic DP. Advised me that she's like, don't act if you want to be taken seriously. Don't act in your short film. I was like, okay, great. So that was her advice, and I took that to heart, and I get why. And does my acting experience help directing? Absolutely. It's kind of like they say to everybody. I think I said it in the last one, like, you should go and study that. So directors should go and study acting so they can understand actors, and actors, in my opinion, should study directing and production, all that kind of stuff. Like, everyone should kind of tiptoe into other departments just so they understand a little bit. You don't have to be an expert, but just to get gist of it. I think it's really important. And acting allows me to, I understand story, I understand tone, I understand how to break down a script because I've been doing it for so long that I'm able to do that very easily. And now I'm just breaking down a script as to how to shoot it. But motivation of the actors and the story is so important, and I have that in my back pocket. And then I do believe I know how to, every actor also is different, but I do believe I know how to read most actors and how to give direction to certain actors based on what they're looking for, what they need. Because I understand all of the insecurities of actors. We're all insecure all the time about acting and things like that. We have deep-rooted insecurities. So I need validation in certain regards. So it's, yeah. So it's good to have that as well, to be able to know how to talk to actors. And how do you balance your personal style with the writer's intent? It's a collaboration. Your job is to bring to life what the writer wants. So I think, in my opinion, it's really trying to really make sense of what it is they want and clearly get a clear vision of what it is they want out of the episode that they wrote. Obviously there has to be a collaboration in regards to, like, sometimes they write stuff and you're like, that doesn't work. Like, when you put it on its feet, that thing that you wrote doesn't work. How do we make it work? And in my experience, writers are always collaborative, like, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, no, okay, let's change this, because in my vision, in my head, it was like this, and then, but now that we're on set and for safety of whatever, it's not coming across as the way I want it, so let's change it. So, it's a balancing act. I think people are allowed to have more, I know people are allowed to have more personal style in films, obviously. You're allowed to, it's more pressure because your personal style is on you and it's on your shoulders, and if it doesn't come across when it's done, that's on you. Television kind of has a formula, and each show kind of has a style that's already in place by the the pilot director, and that kind of was put in place from the beginning. So you're trying to also, like, you're not going to come to a show that does a bunch of handheld and all of a sudden be like, I'm going to do everything on Steadicam and connect everything and have all this movement and flow, when they're like, no, we don't do that. We're kind of like, what's the word? Messy and kind of like real and, handheld and kind of things like that. Like, you're not going to reinvent the wheel in that regard. So you do want to honor what the show's style is, and then also add in stuff that you really like. I really love, transition from scene to scene. How can you make that work? How can there be a little bit of, I do like things that kind of flow a little bit more. I mean, Station 19, I learned so much about Steadicam because we used it so much that it's kind of ingrained in my DNA now. So, so I'd say it's a balance, but you also have to know the job, which is you're trying to bring to life what the writer has written. And then collaborate. Everything's about, Best piece of advice you've been given that you can share for aspiring directors. Ooh. Maybe the best one was, be like water. My stomach's calling so loud right now. Be like water, I think is what it was. Flow like water, be like water. I now just get a visual, so it's hard for me to even say it because I can just visualize it. I'm like, just go with the flow. Go with the flow. And Bill the other day when he's watched one of these and he said that, I said, trust the process. Like, did I? I was like, trust the process. Go with the flow. At some point you just have to sometimes, and I do it. I've noticed to get in my head and you're bumping up against something because you're not going with the flow. I think keep your eyes open to what's around you and really just go with the flow. And I think that's really, really important. Sometimes you just have to breathe through it and go, okay, and let go of whatever it was you were thinking or whatnot, or I don't know, just go with the flow. Which is interesting because that's like the best advice, that because you can learn all the stuff and you're going to learn all that if that's something you want to do, and all the tools and everything. But really at the end of the day, you just have to go with the flow and let it be what it'll be sometimes, and instead lean in maybe to what it is versus trying to fight against it because it wasn't what you saw or what you wanted, or, you know, that's part of that collaboration element too. Yeah, those were the questions you guys had. Someone also said, I saw on here, I like to go to this as well. Someone said bringing people on. I do want to bring people on because I had so many issues with Wi-Fi and internet. I've been struggling with, like, drink your coffee. I'm so hungry now. It's like hit me, breakfast time. I've struggled so much with Wi-Fi and internet and connection. And when I'm on a time crunch, it gives me anxiety, like a lot of anxiety when I'm like, I want to be able to have this conversation with someone, but we also are worried about internet reception. It's not working. And oh my God. And then the process of every time it ends a live and you have to save the live and share the live. And that whole process after is also a little bit of a hiccup. So I want to bring people on. I need to figure out how to do that in the process of setting up the podcast and reaching out to people to be a part of the podcast and things. I'm also trying to figure out how I navigate that with lives and really reaching out to people and kind of figuring out how to bring people on. And I know there's a couple people out there I already talked to that would love to come on a live, and I want that to happen. But yes, I agree. I mean, I've even thought of the people I'm shadowing now. I'm like, would you guys want to go on a live? And then I'm like, do I want them to go on a live or do I want them to go on the podcast? I'm like, I don't want to abuse that either. But I also know too, talking to you guys and bringing people on that are here would be really great to be able to do. Let's see. I'm trying to see any other questions here. I'm just reading the comments, guys. Is it the director who decides on retakes? Retakes. In what sense? Reshoots after are done by producers. Like if there's something that needs to be reshot, that's producers making that call because that's a money thing too. And you hope that doesn't happen. You don't want to have to reshoot. Retakes, as in like on the day, if you have to do more takes, I think is what you mean. Like retakes. I think I'm trying to, if you mean reshoots or like multiple takes, the director's the one that decides, I mean, how many times you're going to go. Sometimes the actor can step in and be like, can I have one more take? But, you know, we talk about that a lot. Someone I said, I've been walking around, you know, asking people in the crew, like, okay, what do you look for in a director? What is something that you're like, oh God, no, I'm scared when the director does this. And one of the things is like taking too many takes. You have to know when you've got the scene, and kind of edit in your head. That's why editors also, there's some editors that make really good directors because they're editing it in their head as it goes along. They're like, oh no, I got that piece, check. I got that piece, check. I got that piece, check. And sometimes when you're directing, you're kind of like, did I get that piece? I got that piece right. I got that piece right. And you're looking to your like script supervisor, like, we got that right, because it just moves so fast. So, but in regards to like how many takes you take, it's up to the director. You know, you take the first take. Usually, sometimes the first, you're not going to end with one. Although sometimes under time crunches, I've only got one take before in the past as an actor, and I've seen that happen. But you want at least 2, ideally 3, and then you move on. But if you're on a master or wide, you don't even need, you know, that is where you can just take one take. You're like, okay, we got it. So it just depends. But yeah, the director's the one that decides when to move on to the next scene, unless they're over time and producers come down and are like, let's move on. Would I ever direct anything in Ireland? We get a lot of big stars over here doing films. Yeah, I would love to. I want to go to Ireland. My goal is, you guys, I did a vision board. Side tangent. I did a vision board finally, and one of the things I put on there was Ireland. If I could make another short movie, what would it be about? I do actually walk around and like I'll think of ideas. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea for a short film. Oh, that's a great idea for a short film. And I need to write them down because the other day I actually had one. And I was like, oh, I could do that. Could I do that? Could I do that over like a weekend for like no money? You know, because that's the thing is short films can get very expensive. And that's sometimes, you know, why I feel like I'm like, I can't do short films anymore. Would I like to produce someday? Absolutely. Someone said I should do a live on Twitch and use Discord to have people live. I don't know what that is, but I will ask Sophie about that. Okay. What's in my coffee today? I ran out of cream. It was so random. Sorry. I don't know. I felt inclined to answer that. I ran out of creamer, so it's just almond milk and some sugar, but every other day it's been like peppermint mocha creamer or something. I'm like, it's not as yummy today. As an actor, what would I like from a director? I just want a director, from the actor's standpoint, as a director, I feel like I can trust. I like directors to give me my first take. I don't like notes before the first take. Like, give me the freedom to be like, okay, I'm gonna come in, do my first take. And then after, if you don't like what I did, then you can give me notes. So I would say for me, a director that trusts me, but then I trust them too. And then usually when they come in, you know, I love directors that can give notes. I don't need directors that validate me in regards to like, that was great, oh my God. You know, I don't need that. But just a director I can trust that really knows what they're doing. Like, it's very, very apparent very quickly if a director has prepared and knows what they want and what they're doing, and directors that don't. And the scariest thing is a director that comes on set and you're like, oh. Just because you immediately, there's a lack of guidance, and then with that comes a lack of trust in the director, and then you as an actor even question yourself because they're like, did we get it? Do we have it? Was that good? Because you don't actually trust the director. So that's the thing that scares me the most. I'll do a couple more and then I'm gonna eat some breakfast, and then I have to, 7 is the deadline. I turn into a pumpkin. How do you know who you have in mind when you want to cast in a short film? I know a lot of people that know who they want to cast ahead of time, or they love an actor, they want them in this thing. I loved the audition process because Jamie Castro cast my short film, and we auditioned people. And what's crazy is like the person I thought was not, I mean, I ended up with Jodie. She was amazing. And it's just not, for some reason, what I thought. And then she came in the room and it was really to her chemistry. Like, you just know. But sometimes what I visualize is not what it is. And I think you have to be open to that too. Yeah, you just have to be open to that. It might be something different than what you expected or what you planned. How do you make your cast and crew feel seen as a director? Great question. Again, it's the collaboration and hearing them out. If someone's coming to you saying this doesn't work for us in our department, or we're bumping on this, or this is what our thoughts are, or this is how it should be done, or this is our opinions, you gotta listen. You gotta listen, you gotta hear them, and you gotta collaborate, you know? But that's what a crew needs. And then you need to be decisive when it's time to be decisive. That's also important. Stop saying Stop saying Stop the word go away. I'm so sick of saying I was about to say it again. So I would say those are the things that a crew needs from you. So happy you guys like Heard. I think I'd want to do a podcast about Heard because it's such important subject matter. I want to handle it properly. So I think talking about Heard more on the podcast with specific people, I think is going to be better than just sitting here talking about Heard to you guys. Heard is my short film, for those that don't know. How do you navigate seeing different directing styles and then finding your own? I also want to check battery on my phone. Okay. Navigate different directing styles and then finding your own. I think you learn from people. I think also you kind of take things from people too. Like, ooh, that was really cool. I liked how they did that. That was an interesting style. I really like that too. Or that's really cool. How did they accomplish that? And I think your instincts kind of decide what I think your instincts kind of decide what your style is in the end, because it's what you gravitate towards. But yeah, I love watching people and how they do things. When is the podcast coming? It was supposed to already come. There's a slight delay because I'm up here, but things are still working on in the background. So I've got to come up with an actual date so I can announce that for the podcast. But yeah, it's all in motion. There's so many elements that go into it, from purchasing the chairs and the mics and the systems and how it's going to be uploaded, where it's going to be uploaded. So all of that has been decided, and in coming together, but I'm not going to be back in the States until February 12th. So, and getting the people on a schedule to come in to do it all. And there'll be some trial and error. So yeah, so the podcast is coming, but a little delayed because of the fact that I'm up here. Someone said I use all the time, and I literally, as I was saying, I have to basically go because my phone is dying because I need food and I have to leave. So I'm trying to see. Some great questions. I'm just trying to read them before they disappear. I'm trying to stick with directing questions. There's some great questions that I'm very inclined to want to answer, but I'm really trying to stick with directing questions. Shall we do an count by now? I mean, it's not a bad idea, and then I can be held accountable for my ums. Okay, I'll end on just like, so today is the last day of prep. We start filming tomorrow, and someone just said, like, what's your day like? And today we'll go in to the stages again, have a couple last prep meetings, which I think are tone, and there's something else today on the schedule. But it's kind of just finalizing. Usually the last day of prep is kind of the easiest, if you've really been able to work through everything, because at that point there's nothing else, there's no obstacles. It's really just making sure everything's ready for the next day. So I'll be reviewing also my shot list for the next 2 days, specifically most likely walking the stages. I'm following Nicole in what she wants to do for the day as well, but walking the stages maybe for the stuff that we're shooting Thursday and Friday of this week, and really just going over everything and checking to make sure that, you know, everything is ready to go. It's kind of the easiest day of prep, in my opinion, because everything's set. You're kind of just checking and making sure. Okay. Oh, there's some good questions coming in, but I gotta go. Oh, okay. How do you actively go about getting a directing job? I think I talked about this in the last one. Everyone has their own path. Sometimes it's going to school. Sometimes it's being a part of directing programs through companies like Paramount, Warner Brothers, ABC, Shondaland, and there's tons out there. DGA is the union, so going to even just to the DGA site for directors and kind of seeing, you know, tools and links they have there is really everyone's path into directing, as with acting, is very different. So if you're someone who wants to direct, you know, start just searching things, Googling things, figuring things out, and find out what works for you. Stop saying that. So yeah, I think everyone's process is different, but you just got to take that first step. We have computers in front of us. Just start, and that's something you don't have to ask people about. Just search. Spend a day. Take a Post-it, take a note, and write down some things you found, and watch some YouTube videos, and just see what you latch onto, what inspires you, and go from there. So if you're someone who wants to direct, I hope this has been helpful to do 2 WeChat Wednesdays about directing. I'm very much, stop saying I'm very much in it right now, so it feels very relevant to talk about. I'll have to think of what to talk about next Wednesday, because I hope I'll be able to do it, but we'll be actually in the process of filming. So give me some ideas about what I should do WeChat Wednesday about, but I'm happy I got to do this for any, it's anyone out there who wants to direct. I hope this helped, and thanks so much for all your support, and yeah, I hope everyone has a great day. That's it. Oh, I'll leave it with, someone had wrote in the question box is a quote, which I'm going to quote you guys, is every step in your journey is something to celebrate. And it's so true. I love a small win. Every step is something to celebrate. Every step. So I hope you have a great day. Celebrate the small wins. I'll end with a Lots of love. Bye.